Hello everyone, my name is Yemane Keleta Tedla. I am from Nagaoka University of Technology, and I'm going to present about the design and development of part of speech tagged corpus for Tigrinya language. So in this presentation, I'm going to introduce Tigrinya language and the natural language processing so far done for this language. And then we're going to go into the details of corpus development process and the part of speech tag set design. And then we'll wind up our presentation with conclusions and feature works. So first, the objectives of this research. So so far there has not been any Tigrinya text corpus for the purpose of researches for natural language processing. So the first objective of this research is collecting Tigrinya text data for NLP in Tigrinya and designing part of speech tags which are relevant to Tigrinya language, and then building the first part of speech tagged corpus, and also developing some corpus processing tools, and also using this corpus to analyze morphological patterns of Tigrinya. Then finally, we release the corpus to the public. So where is Tigrinya language spoken? Tigrinya is spoken in two East African countries of Eritrea and Ethiopia. So mostly on the central part of Eritrea and the northern part of Ethiopia. It's spoken by about 7 million people, and it is categorized under Semitic languages in similar category with Arabic, Hebrew, and also Amharic. So these languages share common structure and morphological features. Some of the linguistic features of Tigrinya. Tigrinya is subject, object, verb order, and it has very rich morphology similar to other Semitic languages, and this morphology is known as template root morphology. So it is highly inflected for gender, number, person, aspect, mood, tense, and other grammatical features. And there are some derivational rules which produce nouns, adjectives, verbs among each other. So the subject, and there is a subject-verb agreement which is enforced by inflection of verbs in Tigrinya. So as we can see from this example, these are English statements. I sing. So this verb sing does not go that much inflection in English, except when it undergoes the third pronoun inflection. But in Tigrinya, for every similar sing verb, there are infixes and prefix and infix inflections. So these inflections has to match the corresponding pronouns. So this is one of the characteristics of Tigrinya. The Tigrinya is one of the few indigenous African languages which has its own writing system, which we call the Giz script. So the Giz script was originally developed for the Giz language, which is currently extinct language. And Tigrinya also uses the same characters. So Tigrinya has been a written language for over 800 years. The morphology of Tigrinya is quite complex. So as an example, this word Aisababer kullun means in English, I did not break it repeatedly for him. So if we break down this word into its morphological features, so this the verb means to break, and in Tigrinya and other Semitic languages, the roots are represented by constant literals, so SBR, and the templates indicate the type of the verb, in this case perfective verb. And if we see the inflections, so by duplicating one of the literals of the constants, we get this repeatedly done action, and this I, n is a negation in Tigrinya. Ku and lu are suffix, subject and object suffixes. So in this one word we find a lot of information, a lot of morphological information. So Tigrinya has a very complex morphology, but these grammatical features are very useful to hint the part of speech tag of a word for part of speech tagger development. So as I have mentioned it before, there is so far no publicly available corpus, and mainly due to this reason, there hasn't been so far many NLP researches on the language. So we can mention a handful of research: morphological analyzer and generator, stammer for Tigrinya verbs, an attempt of search engine research, some input editors, and some electronic dictionaries. So that's why we made it our research objective to construct the first part of speech tagged corpus, so that other researchers also build up on this developed corpus. So this is the general overview of the research. First, we collect raw text data, and then after that the data is pre-processed, cleaned and formatted, and then from this plain text corpus we developed tag set design rules, and by using these rules we manually tagged the corpus. And now this is different versions of the corpus. The plain text format, this is when it is tagged, romanized, and also in TEI XML format to make it machine readable. So if we go to the detail of this process, the first one is a raw data collection. We collected our text from a national newspaper called Haddas Ertra, and in order to make the corpus as much as possible representative topic wise, we selected the data from different topics, which include business, health, sports, history, education, politics, and law. And after that, in the pre-processing phase, foreign scripts were removed, and the tokens were properly tokenized by spaces. And then we normalized the corpus, which means, as we can see in this English example, I'll can be written as I will, and this type of behavior is common in Tigrinya. So there are two cases. Some of the Tigrinya words need to be decomposed, and some of them need to be fused together. So we identified around 60 methods of criticizing, and we normalized the corpus. And unnecessary punctuations were removed in the next phase, and also only few basic punctuations were kept. And then during the formatting phase, we separated it. We formatted it into sentences. So we have collected around 72,000 word corpus. The next step was to add grammatical information, such as part of speech tags, to this plain text corpus. And during this phase, we identified the major part of speech tags of Tigrinya, and also the subcategories of these major part of speech tags. So we have two sets of tags. One is the first one contains 73 tags, and it contains major categories, subcategories, and also affixes of prepositions and conjunctions. And we also reduced this 73 tag set into 20 tags by removing the affix information. So this is the hierarchical design of the tag sets. So an example is, here we have verbs, and for verbs there are different types, such as perfective, imperfective, imperative, and gerundive. So there is one label for that, and then the next third level is including conjunctions and prepositions, as we can see here. So and we can also extend it into include more attributes, such as gender, number, and person. In our research, we haven't included this part, but we have three levels, three hierarchies of grammatical information. So we developed a simple manual annotation tool to support the manual taggers, and this tool was very important in reducing typographic errors and also facilitating the process of manual tagging. The manual tagging process was done by collaborating with researchers in Eritrea. So first we developed tagging guidelines by referring or consulting 4 Tigrinya grammar books, and then we refined these tag rules by conducting inter-annotator agreement tests. So the agreement between 3 taggers was 95%, and they completed tagging around 72,000 words in a range of 4 months. So this is, the corpus has 2 formats, a plain text format and XML format. So this is according to the well-known Brown corpus format. So here is the plain text and here is the tagged version. And this is the XML version of the corpus. So here we included the metadata and here we included the actual data. So a bit of the corpus statistics. As we can see from this graph, most of the words in the corpus are from nouns and verbs. More than half of the corpus contains nouns and verbs. So this is because of the high rate of inflection in Tigrinya. And the corpus was, there were 100 articles from different topics, and it was divided into 4,656 sentences, which means average of 15 words per sentence. And it has high rate of unique words and also hapaxes, which are found only once in the corpus. So we used this corpus for extracting morphological patterns from for Tigrinya. So these morphological patterns are useful for constructing features for developing automatic part of speech tagger. So first we extracted patterns based on their part of speech tag, and then we identified common prefixes and suffixes and also infixes. And from these groups, we selected the most frequent patterns as the most informative patterns based on frequency and also template representation. So this is an instance of one of the morphological features, morphological patterns of gerundive verbs, one of the 4 types of verbs in Tigrinya. So altogether there were 533 different patterns, including inflections. So out of this, the most dominant pattern was the one that we see here, the root, and the template is indicated by vowels E, I, U. So these type of patterns were extracted for verbs and also for nouns and for adjectives and basically for all types of part of speech tags. So in the conclusion and feature work, we constructed the first part of speech tagged corpus for Tigrinya, which contains around 72,000 tokens, and this corpus is now the first publicly released or available corpus for Tigrinya. And we plan to improve the quality of the corpus by introducing new and finer tagging guidelines, and also increasing the data size of the corpus and including different topics and genres, because so far we have only news genre in our corpus. And also by correcting tagging inconsistencies, we plan to improve the quality of the corpus in a series of versions. And then from this corpus, the next step would be developing NLP tools such as a part of speech tagger. So this is the presentation. Thank you for your attention.